Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing reviews on every single fragrance currently out from the Penhaligon's Portraits line. That's right, 6 fragrances ready to tell you guys what I think. You guys have been actually asking for this one. I mentioned it about a month or two ago that I was going to do this. So I'm ready to let you guys know what I think of these fragrances, tell you a little bit about the line and things like that. So if you've been interested in these guys, then keep watching. Things. Firstly, this video is going to be long. I have 6 fragrances to go through, and I want to give each of the fragrances the time and respect they deserve. So I'm going to timestamp below where each of the fragrance reviews start if you're only interested in 1 or 2 of the fragrances in this line. That way you don't have to sit through a long video, because this is going to be a long video. So I'm very sorry for that. The lighting is a little bit weird because I'm expecting a thunderstorm very soon, so you'll have to excuse the lighting. And the other thing is I'm going to mispronounce so many things in this video. I'm apologizing ahead of time. I am doing my best. I'm listening to notes, I'm watching French ads, I'm doing everything I can to get better at pronunciation, but I am still getting better at it. So I'm apologizing ahead of time for things that I mispronounce. And I will probably mispronounce common words, because once I start mispronouncing things, everything just goes wishy-washy. Alright, enough of that. Let's talk a little bit about the Portraits collection. This was released, the first 4 fragrances were released in 2016, and more have been released currently. Basically, this is Penhaligon's way of kind of playing tribute, but also having fun with British aristocracy, especially when you read the descriptions of the fragrance, what they were trying to go for and things like that. I will say one thing, these bottles are some of the coolest bottles I've seen. Their caps are amazing. I really enjoy them, and oh my gosh, I just want them for the bottles. The bottles are really cool. So let's start out. I'm not going to start in any particular order, but what I'm going to do is after I give you a review of all the fragrances, at the very end I will kind of quickly list them in my least favorite to most favorite. So let's get into the review. The first one we're going to be talking about is The Tragedy of Lord George. What I'm going to be doing is just spraying on strips to remind myself of the opening, because it has been a little while. These are 6 fragrances, and I want to make sure that I give you guys proper opening notes and descriptions. So let's spray this, and then let's talk about the tragedy of Lord George. On the website it said, Lord George is a wealthy and respected man, the archetypal patriarch. He seems to embody the noblest values of the aristocracy. I keep saying aristocracy because I think of Aristocats. Virtue, respect, loyalty, and faithfulness. The notes in this are, the top notes are Brandy, the heart notes are supposed to be like shaving soap, and then the base notes are Tonka bean. Now in this I do get a lot more woodsy notes, little woodsy notes. This is one of them that kind of leans more on the masculine, in fact incredibly masculine side. It's very smooth. It's a little bit spiced, and the Tonka gives it a bit of warmth. In the opening, you definitely get that kind of like shaving soap feeling, but it's very smooth and very attractive. It's very regal and almost just kind of really sexy. I like smelling like this. The bottle is the stag head. Oh my goodness, this bottle is amazing. Absolutely gorgeous fragrance. I will say one thing with this fragrance is its longevity is not the best out of all of them. It's one of the ones that's a little bit on the weaker side. So longevity on this is about 4 hours, maybe 5 depending on if I oversprayed. Now that's not a bad thing, because it does fit in my 4 to 6 window, and I will say most, if not all of these fragrances perform very well in my environment on my skin, but this is the one that was kind of like on the lower end of the longevity line. Sillage wise, this does tend to project a little bit louder than some of the others, but it's very clean and it's very fresh, but it's very woodsy and warm and masculine at the same time. It's a really nice balance of like a rugged diplomat or like a rugged rich noble. It's really beautiful. I do like this. This is just very sexy, but very masculine, and again a little tiny bit on the soapy side, but in a very attractive way. Not soapy like a negative, soapy like a really positive. So I do like that. The most predominant note that I get out of this in the entire time that I wear it is the Tonka. The Tonka bean is there the entire time, and I think if the Tonka wasn't there, this fragrance would lose some of its magic. So I'm glad that that is there the entire from the opening to the ending of this fragrance. I really like the Tragedy of Lord George. Also, these are all eau de parfum formulation too, if you guys are interested. I really like Tragedy of Lord George. It's one of them that I want to purchase just because I love the way it smells. It's kind of warm and nutty and woodsy, and just there's something really smooth and sexy about it too. So definitely this one is a winner for me. It's really, really good. Is Much Ado About the Duke. This is another one of those kind of unisex masculine ones. The little flavor text that comes with this is comforting to the expectations of his class, or conforming, not comforting, conforming. Sorry, again, I'm really bad at this. Conforming to the expectations of his class, Duke Nelson married the most coveted girl in London, the Duchess Rose. Yet the Duke is eccentric and unusual. His whimsical air sets society tongues wagging. Rumors around that his marriage is yet to be consummated. It's supposed to be ambivalent, florid, masculine, kind of like a marriage between the both of those. So the notes in this, the top notes are peppery rose, gin, and the heart notes are leathery wood. This one is the one I was most excited to sample when I was reading the notes. I was just like, what? Peppery rose, leathery wood? I am down. Sign me up, friends. Let's go. The bottle is kind of like a hound dog. It's not as regal and majestic as some of the others, but it's still a very interesting bottle. Okay, so I just sprayed this just to remind myself of the opening. There we go. Like I said, it's gonna be a long video. And yes, oh gosh, I haven't worn this one in weeks, you guys. This is another beautiful one. What I like about this is the peppery rose and the gin kind of balance each other out. You got the fizziness and the booziness of the gin. You guys have you guys drank gin? You gotta know what gin tastes like. It's slightly salty, boozy. It pairs really well with just about anything. You could drink it on its own. Really like gin. The peppery rose is there, and then you got the wood and like the leathery wood. But nothing about this is heavy. It's actually a very effervescent, sheer fragrance. This is a beautiful daytime fragrance, especially if you're going to a meeting or an interview, or if you want to make an impression someplace you want to go. This one did not let me down. I was really excited to try it, and it was not at all what I thought it was going to be. Let me throw that out there. I was expecting something completely different, but I was actually really impressed with this fragrance. Slightly sweet, but that's the rose. But again, it's a little bit spiced. The wood, the leather is all in there, and the gin. Now, the beauty of this fragrance is in its dry down. The dry down in this is exquisite. As soon as it settles on your skin, the rose and the gin and kind of the woodsy notes just kind of marry together and create this beautiful symphony on your skin that's just really, really beautiful. Overall, this was a pleasure to wear. Really excited to wear it. Smells beautiful. This is, to me, more of a true unisex fragrance, like right in the middle, because the rose is a little bit sweet, but then you've got the gin and the leathery woods and the pepper that kind of tone down the sweetness a lot. But the rose is there. The rose is very distinctive. You're immediately like rose, but it's really, really nice. This kind of reminds me of a hunter. Maybe that's the hound, like running through the gardens, like with his hound chasing a fox or something. I don't know. It's really beautiful. It's very, again, very effervescent, somewhat sheer, a beautiful daytime fragrance. Love this one a lot. Longevity, there we go. This one actually, for as sheer and light as it does sit on the skin and how it's kind of like more fizzy and boozy, it does sit on the skin about 5 to 6 hours, which is really nice. The sillage of this one is a little bit more intimate. It's arm's length, a little bit closer than that. So I would say this would be a beautiful work appropriate fragrance, professional fragrance. You could wear this pretty much anywhere. I do think that the mix of the booziness and the leathery woods would also make this appropriate in the evenings depending on where you're going. This probably, because it's a little bit more intimate, wouldn't be so much that you would want to wear if you were making an impression. But if you're going someplace like a party or a meeting and you just want to smell nice and you want the people next to you to be able to experience your fragrance, this would be really nice for evening occasions as well. Next up, we are going to be talking about Clandestine Clara. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is Lord George Mistress is a mischievous and modern free spirit. She speaks her mind and conducts scandalous love affairs. She smokes and even has a job. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. These are too great. These are just too great. We pray she does not embody a broader movement for women. I'm not even getting into that, but we're here about the juice. So I'm going to remind myself that the notes in this are like the opening notes. This is the one I've worn more frequently. I think I wore this like a week ago. The opening notes of this are rum and vanilla. It's a very boozy scent. The middle notes, I'm just reminding myself because they're over here, cinnamon and musk. The base notes are ambery and patchouli. I do have very real thoughts about this one, you guys, and I will let you know, but I'm going to remind myself of the opening as I fling it everywhere. I like this one, guys, but this is basic. These fragrances for 75 ml are $250. Do remind yourself of that. This one is a beautiful amber patchouli fragrance. It's really nice. The booziness, there's some woodsy notes in there as well. The cinnamon isn't too crazy dramatic. It's not crazy cinnamon. Sometimes cinnamon is all you can smell. It's definitely in the background. The opening of this is rum, vanilla, and amber. Now, the reason why I'm telling you guys about this fragrance, I'm like, and giving you the price, each of these fragrances for 75 ml is $240, as this smells like something you can find for like half the price or even cheaper. This reminds me a lot of Dior Addict. A little bit spicier than Dior Addict. I mean, it is completely different because of the patchouli and the cinnamon, but we're talking about a vanilla amber fragrance here, guys. That's very common everywhere. And so when you have vanilla and like a boozy vanilla, and you have amber, and you have a little bit of patchouli, there are so many fragrances out there that have those combinations, and those fragrances are so dominant, or those notes are so dominant. When you smell these fragrances, like, it pretty much, they all smell like cousins or brothers and sisters, and that's what this one smells like. It's a really beautiful vanilla amber fragrance, and the cinnamon in there definitely sets it apart from others. But do I think this one is as special as some of the other ones in this line? No. Have I smelled this before? Yes, I have. Have I smelled it for cheaper than $240 for 75 ml? Absolutely. So this is one of the lines that, although I really enjoy the fragrance, and it's a really good fragrance, and it smells really nice, I don't know if it's worth the price tag that are on these fragrances. And that's my only qualm with this fragrance. It does smell really nice. Now, I will say the opening of this is a very boozy vanilla, and the longer you wear it, you get more kind of almost like an incense vibe from it. So you get like an incensey patchouli amber, which again, you can get in a lot of different places. So I do really like this one a lot. It is definitely my aesthetic when it comes to fragrances, but it is something that I already have. Now, the bottle is pretty cool. The cap of the bottle is a peacock. So that's really interesting. It's really pretty. And longevity and sillage in this are incredible. I get about 8 to 10 hours with this fragrance, and sillage is past arm's length. It's a very sexy fragrance. I think it's supposed to be a sexy fragrance. It definitely grabs your attention. So, I mean, if you don't have a vanilla amber fragrance in your collection and you want something really sexy and take charge, this might be the one for you. But if you already have like 2 or 3 amber vanilla fragrances in your collection, you might be able to skip this one. But it is very nice, it performs very well, and it has beautiful projection. Next up is The Revenge of Lady Blanche, and I will probably be mispronouncing all the notes in this. But let's read the little flavor text, shall we? A darling of London society and one of the most influential ladies in Britain. Again, reading aloud, never my strong point. Her aloof beauty, mysterious past, and blazing passions are scrutinized from all, from shopgirls to royalty. She would do anything to climb the social ladder. This is what I'm telling you guys. I'm so bad at this. Still further, her latest scheme is to poison her husband, Lord George, inheriting his wealth and bearing his secrets forever. So it's like femme fatale almost, kind of like fragrance, like cool beauty. The top notes in this is a powdery notes. You have Orris in there. Heart notes are Narcissus flower, and base notes is Hyacinth. Hyacinth. I'm going to list all the notes below. I can never pronounce this one ever. I've listened to it. Hyacinth. I'm so bad. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't take pride in this. I really don't. I take pride in my reviews, not my pronunciation. Okay. So let me remind. I got a sample of this a long time ago, and I have worn it, and I haven't worn it probably like a month. So let's remind myself of the opening. There it is. Yeah, okay, this one. Because I've smelled them all and I kind of remember them all. This kind of reminds me of lipstick, like a very expensive lipstick you'd buy like a long time ago. Like you went to the department store, you spent a lot of money on a tube of lipstick, it was slightly fragranced. It kind of reminds me of that, and I really like that. Smells very high-end. It smells really luxurious and regal and beautiful, very noble, a little bit bitter, a little bit green, but definitely powdery and sweet at the same time. This is one of those fragrances that needs time to develop on your skin. Most fragrances do, but sometimes it doesn't need that much time, but this is a game changer once it develops on your skin. I remember this one now. The longer this wears on your skin, the better it becomes, the more potent it becomes, the more powerful it becomes. You get that beautiful kind of makeup lipstick vibe. And if you guys are fragrance people and you watch reviews, you guys know what I'm talking about when I say when something smells like lipstick, and it's something a lot of people go out and search for. It's really beautiful. It's very mature, but it's also a little bit playful. It's a beautiful dichotomy of all the fragrances. The bottle is, I think it's a puma or a cougar head. I don't know why I find that interesting and fun. It's a very nice bottle. It kind of looks like a teddy bear from the front, but I do love this fragrance. It's a beautiful, very mature floral fragrance, very sexy and seductive. I wouldn't say this is office appropriate or professional appropriate, but this is definitely something that you would wear at night, or if you were out and about during the day and you were trying to make an impression. Really, really beautiful stuff. Get the powdery floral throughout the entire day. Again, it just smells like a really expensive cosmetics in the most beautiful way possible. And when you wear it on your skin, you just smell expensive. You just smell like you're rich. It's one of those things. And I'm not saying like, you know, it's not about smelling rich, but when you smell this fragrance, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. Kind of has like a luxurious luxury quality to it, which is really, really nice. It's the best way I can describe this without saying it smells like this type of flower. Kind of trying to give you an idea of what this fragrance invokes. Now, this does have really nice longevity. It's about 6 hours, and I do believe this has pretty good sillage. That's why you shouldn't wear this at work. It's past arm's length, and again, it is, since it's a powdery floral, not a lot of people are going to be able to stand that. It might bother somebody's nose if somebody doesn't like fragrances, so I wouldn't wear this during the daytime if you're in a professional setting, like class or work. But this is really, really nice. Yeah, I like this one. Has a little tiny bit of sweetness too at the end, just a little bit, a little playfulness there. It's really nice. That's why the weather's changing. Next up is the Coveted Duchess Rose. This one's really interesting too. Alright, so this one is daughter of Lady Blanche and Lord George. Rose married a duke to escape the stifling rigidity of her family and to become the coveted Duchess Rose. At first naively romantic, she has now become disillusioned and frustrated in an unsatisfied marriage, always looking for fun and frivolity and perhaps love affairs. I don't know why I did that, I'm sorry. Her fragrance is a not so innocent fresh rose. Okay, I'm going to spritz to remind myself of the opening and make sure there's nothing on this one. For sometimes I grab the same strips, and as you guys know, my reviews are less from professional. Consumer reviews, guys. I am a consumer. These are consumer reviews. Alright, the top notes of this are Mandarin, the heart notes is rose, and the base notes are musky woods. I love woodsy roses, and I like the idea of Mandarin in this. This is one I wore more frequently. Yeah, I love it. Just smelling it, I'm like, yeah, this is a winner. I love woodsy rose, guys. I'm getting comfy again, I'm sorry. There's just something really just sensual and sexy and grounding about wood and rose. I really, really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite combinations when it comes to fragrances. This is no exception. The nice thing about this in the opening is the Mandarin. Now, I've talked before in other videos when it comes into specific citruses. Not all citruses are created equal, so it's not like you could just throw a lemon or a bergamot. Every citrus is very specific. When you have bergamot, a lot of people when they think of bergamot, they think of Earl Grey tea, so it can be slightly sweet and almost creamy, just because if you have Earl Grey tea with cream, you just kind of are remembering the bergamot in the tea with maybe some cream, especially if it's paired with something that's a little bit more warm, like if it's amber or vanilla. So bergamot, although it can be a bright citrus, it can definitely be more on the creamy side. Mandarin and of notes like that, or orange, even sometimes lemon, can be sweet and juicy and not so much a biting, almost cold citrus like a grapefruit can be. So Mandarin, I think, is the right choice for this fragrance, because I don't think it should be creamy, because that would fight with the wood, but if it was too cold, it would also fight with the wood. It would make this fragrance almost a little bit more acidic, and you don't want this to be acidic, you want this to be bright and a little bit sweet and playful. And I think Mandarin is the perfect choice for this. What I like most about this fragrance is the entire time you're smelling this, it is rose. Now, everyone says garden roses. We have your garden roses, your romantic roses, your jammy roses. This fragrance to me smells like the darkest, deepest, most perfect red rose. You just shoved your nose in it, shoved your face in it. That's how this would smell. There's something deep about this fragrance. And the woodsy notes just add a lot of complexity to it without taking away from that rose fragrance. This is a fantastic fragrance for rose lovers out there. It is definitely something you've smelled before, but the clarity in this fragrance, the fact that it is like a deep, dark red rose, I think is really saying something about this fragrance, and I do really love it. The Mandarin doesn't last a long time. It's very fleeting. It's there for about an hour and then it's gone. But overall, you do get this really deep rose with these woodsy notes. And a lot of times when there's woodsy roses, they're like spicy, they're like incensey, sometimes they might be a little bit more garden fresh, dewy rose. This is nice because it is a rose, just a red rose with wood. It's like completely different, but it's still really beautiful. If you're a rose fanatic, definitely try this fragrance. I really, really, really like it and recommend it. I love it. It's just so good. Definitely leaning way more on the feminine side, but I do like the fact that the woodsy notes in the Mandarin do kind of like pull this more towards unisex. Longevity of this fragrance is fantastic. It's 8 hours, and the sillage of this is pretty good too. It's arm's length. Because this is a rose fragrance, and because it's not so much incensey and more woodsy, you could wear this to professional settings. This is a very universal fragrance. You can wear this anywhere, anytime. It pretty much can be dressed down or dressed up. So I do think this is probably one of those fragrances from the collection that is not stifled by how it smells. Some of them are wear this at night away from other people, and other ones are this is more of a daytime. This is more of a universal, can go anywhere, do anything fragrance. It's really, really nice. But not least is Roaring Radcliff. This is a very long thing, so I'm going to read it from here. Here we go. Being the son of Lord George certainly explains Radcliffe's weakness for the flesh. But being illegitimate, he is unburdened by expectations and indulges himself with fast cars and faster girls. He lives for parties and provocation. For being provocative. I told you guys. This one is like, I don't know. This is really interesting though. The top notes of this are rum, the heart notes are tobacco, and the base notes are gingerbread. So let's remind myself, this is one of the first ones I sprayed on myself. I have notes written down off to the side, so like that's why before I kind of refresh myself on like how long it is and stuff, but I do like to remind myself of the opening when I'm telling you guys about the notes. This is obviously going to be leaning more masculine and very sexy. This has a vibe of like licorice, but not, it's like gingerbread, it's like the spice, you know? But the tobacco in here isn't like your everyday tobacco. It's not like overtly tobacco. It is very much in the background. I get mostly rum with this fragrance. Rum, like spiced rum, which is really, really nice, but not like cinnamon. This fragrance, there's a little bit of licorice in there I get with everything together. Just the touch of it, but it's not unpleasant. If you don't like, I hate the taste of licorice, I hate the smell of licorice, but when it's mixed properly in fragrances, it's actually really pleasant. This one's really nice. Generally, overall, this kind of smells like nutty bread, like fresh baked bread, and I really like that aspect of it. There's something very grounded by it, but something that's still really sexy. It doesn't smell like it would have really long longevity, but this has great longevity. It's about 8 to 10 hours. Sillage on this is about arm's length as well, which is really good. And throughout the entire time you wear it, you're really going to get that nutty, spiced fragrance from this. But the rum, the booziness is going to go away after about 2 to 3 hours. The tobacco becomes a little bit more apparent the longer you wear it, but at the forefront, you're getting kind of like that nutty gingerbread-esque type of fragrance, which is really, really pleasant. So now that I've gone through all the fragrances, I'm going to list my favorite, and I'm going to be, when I'm talking about fragrance, it's not just how it smells, I'm taking into price, longevity, and everything like that into consideration as well, because I'm giving you my recommendations. So the one that is going to be the one I'm not going to recommend is the Clandestine Clara. As beautiful as that is, and as much as I love a really good amber patchouli vanilla fragrance, I have so many of those already that are cheaper, that perform just as well. Now the fact that I just have that cinnamon twist to it makes it really sexy and really playful and nice. So it is definitely a fragrance I would recommend. But if you're looking to purchase one of these fragrances, there's a lot more interesting fragrances from this line that I would definitely recommend. The second, number 5, I would say would be Roaring Radcliff. This is a really solid fragrance, and I think there's something really positive about it. It's something really sexy. I love the nutty spiciness of it, and the booziness is really nice. Generally, overall, it's an appealing fragrance, but it also doesn't quite smell $240. I think it's closer to the $200 mark, but it does have excellent sillage and excellent longevity, and it is definitely worth checking out. If you like gingerbread and nutty notes and you're looking for something masculine that's just going to make an impact, I would definitely check this one out. Number 4 is The Revenge of Lady Blanche. This is a beautiful fragrance. I do so much love the fact that it smells expensive. You smell expensive when you wear this. So it definitely, to me, invokes the price points. The bottle is really interesting as well. I think it's a Jaguar and not like a Puma Cougar. Overall, this is a fantastic fragrance, but it's not for everybody, so I wouldn't so much be like, go out and get it. I would definitely sample this one first, especially since this one really needs time to develop on your skin to really show you all of its beauty. But if you're looking for a very sophisticated, elegant, mature scent that just smells expensive, this is one that's definitely worth checking out. Number 3 is Much Ado About the Duke. I love the mix of masculine and feminineness. I love the rose with the woodsy nose. As you guys know, I love peppery noses. Roses. I love leathery woods. This entire thing just is perfect to me. It is a beautiful balance of masculine and feminine, not just unisex. You know, unisex is unisex, but you get the feminine aspects of it and the masculine aspects of it, and it comes together really beautifully. It's one of the scents that I think is a little bit more easy to wear out of the entire collection, and although it is very easy to understand, it is also very unique as well, so I do really like this one a lot. 2 is The Tragedy of Lord George. This one is just practically perfect in every way and was almost my number one. I think this would smell sexy on anybody. The Tonka bean really wins this over. It's just really smooth, really sexy and suave, rugged, but there's just something about it that just takes you by force. I know, it's a really beautiful fragrance. I do love this one a lot. I also think out of all the bottles, it's my favorite. I do love the stag head with the antlers and things like that. It's just a very interesting bottle. And when I'm thinking about this line, and the light's all weird, I'm sorry. When I think about this line and I'm thinking about how they were taking like aristocracy and kind of like playing with it and writing stories about it, this fragrance really takes me there. The same thing with Much Ado About the Duke. I really get with their story with the fragrances, so this is a real winner for me. And the winner is the Coveted Duchess Rose. This one was almost number 2 because I don't think it's as inspiring as The Tragedy of Lord George or Much Ado About the Duke, but there's something so successful about this fragrance. I just absolutely adore it. I love that it is rose. Straight there, a deep, dark red rose. And there's something sexual and provocative about that. But there's also something really playful and romantic about it. And I think when you're looking at the story, you're really kind of getting all that with her. And the woodsy notes in this with the mandarin and the rose, it's just beautifully put together, and it's just like a perfect rose scent. It's definitely worth the price point. I enjoy this one a lot, and it's probably going to be first on my buy list just because it is a fantastic rose fragrance. I've really enjoyed it. There it is, guys. Thank you. If you've sat through this entire thing, thank you. Those are all of the current fragrances from the Penhaligon's Portraits collection. I really enjoyed them all. I'm probably going to get at least my top 3. I think they are definitely must-haves for my collection. Sooner rather than later. They're just fantastic fragrances. Definitely worth checking out. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. The worst longevity one was like 4 to 5 hours, and that's in humidity in South Florida on my skin, and fragrances don't really stick to my skin, and they all performed beautifully with excellent sillage. So generally the quality of these fragrances is fantastic. The only time I would say that they weren't worth the price point, which is how it smelled, that you can get things similar for cheaper. But the quality of the juice is there. The entire line is great. I absolutely love the bottles, and I've been enjoying experiencing and exploring this line of fragrances. If you guys have any specific questions on these fragrances, let me know in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to answer anything that you guys have, any questions regarding maybe longevity, maybe how it develops on the skin a little bit more. These were more kind of mini reviews, so I didn't go too deep into them. If you guys want me to do a more in-depth review of any of these fragrances, I'd be more than happy to do that for you guys. Just let me know below. As always, guys, if you like these fragrance reviews, if you like reviews where I talk about entire lines of fragrances, things like this, remember to give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue doing videos like this, and also don't forget to subscribe because it's free and I'm free, and I put out new videos every Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends as well, so I'll always have something for you to watch. In any case, I hope you guys are all happy and healthy and have a great day, month, year, whatever. I'll see you next time. Bye.